So today I want to talk about something that is probably going to make some people pretty mad and upset. But this is something that I have actually had in the back of my mind for a really long time that I want to talk about and discuss, and that is familiars. Now, I don't believe that our pets are our familiars. I don't. And I think that belief of mine came to be several years ago. I don't know what I was reading. I don't know if I heard it somewhere, but the reason that I don't believe this is because I had heard, read, seen, wherever, something about a witch's familiar taking hits for her. Like if somebody were to send you some bad juju or some baneful magic in your direction, that your familiar would take that hit. And I don't think we want that to happen to our pets. So that's why I don't believe our pets are our familiars. Where did this now fairly prevalent belief come from? Like, why is it that we believe our pets are our familiars? Well, what I found out is that in the 16th, 17th century, so right around the time of, well, it started with the witch trials. Let's just say it bluntly. It started with the witch trials. There was obviously a lot of propaganda going around at that time, and there was a pamphlet that was made about like the first witch's trial, and I can't remember her name, and I didn't get it in my notes, but actually, bottom line, they believed, like the witch hunters and everybody, witches had these familiars, which were supernatural entities that were given to witches by spirits or demons or even the devil himself. So if a witch had a pet, it just came to be that then this is just their familiar that they are sending out to do bad things. And I think that is where we come to today. I think that's how we got here. Like, our pets are our familiars. I think that's what started that belief, was way back then in 16th, 17th century. So that's like the 15 and 1600s. There was also belief that the familiar could shapeshift, and that the familiars were witches' companions, or demonic helpers. All of this, it's the church trying to do what the church did back then. So these are the excuses and the reasons that they used for the murder of so many people and the slaughter of a lot of animals also, because they would get rid of the pet along with the witch. So, like in traditional witchcraft practices, familiars are spirit allies. They may take an animal form, but they're just not your pet. So if you work with spirits, if you work with your ancestors, any of those could be your familiar. You could have an entity or a spirit come to you that you don't know and want to work with you and help you with your magic and your spiritual path, your craft. That would be a familiar. Now, a familiar can take a form. I'm not one of those who can see spirit. I can feel them and I can hear them, but I can't really see them other than outside the corner of my eye. But if you can see spirits, it might take a form. It might take the form of an animal. It might take the form of a person. It can take a form. So, and the familiar chooses the witch, I think, most of the time. So getting back to your pet is not your familiar, there's some things that I want to cover in this. Like, I'm not saying that we do not have deep spiritual connections with our pets, because we do. I know I have in the past. I had a dog that I had for 15 years, and I had to put him down in like 2021. And it's the hardest thing I ever had to do. And it did feel like a piece of me was gone. Like we were that connected. And for the longest time, I still felt him in bed with me. That does not make him my familiar. I never thought of him as my familiar. Little black dog, Shih Tzu. I loved my Loki. I haven't gotten another dog, and I don't know if I ever will. And it's been 4 or 5 years. That connection that I had with him and that bond that I had with him does not make him my familiar. So I just wanted to share that story to say that we do have deep connections with our pets. They're just not our familiars. And it's not required for you to have a familiar if you're a witch or if you're new to this path. You don't need to have a familiar at all. And like I said before, talking about familiar spirits, they're not physical beings. Okay, and they can show up however they feel like they want to show up. Now, I did have in my notes that I wanted to talk about fetches, but the more I'm thinking about it, the more I think I want to save that for a separate video. But I think this is where I got some things mixed up regarding familiars taking hits for witches if somebody's directing baneful magic or negative energy towards them, because the fetch actually can be used as a shield and to take those hits. So I think that's where I got the two things confused. But I still, like I said, don't believe our pets are our familiars. So if you're interested in learning more about fetches, let me know in the comments below and I'll make a video on it. Okay, so that's really all I have to say on the topic. Go ahead and give me a piece of your mind in the comments below. Do you have a familiar? Do you not have a familiar? Do you believe your pet is your familiar? Let's have a conversation about that, because I think it's really, really interesting. So do you agree or disagree with what I had to say? If you like this content, please be sure to subscribe and also hit the bell button so you are notified each time a new video gets uploaded. I have several series that I'm working on. I've got Hecate's epithets. I'm working on a series about Hecate's history and mythology. I have a lot of content coming. Also, if you are a spiritual practitioner who is interested in starting your own YouTube channel, but you're not sure how to go about it, I just started a series on that. So if it's posted before this one, I'll link it somewhere at the end card so you can go check that out. And on that note, you guys have a great one, stay blessed, and we'll see you later.